As Christians, we believe that we will be raised bodily from the dead on the last day. One question that many people wonder is, how old will I be? The answer is about 30. If you want to learn why, stick around. Hello, my name is Father Ambrose Little, and I teach philosophy at the Dominican House of Studies. Welcome to Aquinas 101, Big Questions, Little Answers, the series where I do my best to answer your big questions about philosophy, theology, and more. People often ask about what kind of body we will have on the day of resurrection, and they frequently couch that question in terms of, how old will I be? This is a more serious question than it may seem at first, because most of the time people who are asking me this question are elderly. They are worried that they will rise from the dead with the body at the same age and state in which they died. This worries them, and understandably so. The good news is that this is a question people have been thinking about for centuries, and St. Thomas Aquinas has an answer to it. But first we must ask, why do we think we can know anything about what our bodies will be like at the resurrection? Well, consider what we read in Scripture. The first letter of St. John says, quote, "Beloved, we are God's children now. What we shall be has not yet been revealed. We do know that when it is revealed, we shall be like him, for we shall see him as he is." St. John tells us that while we don't know exactly what our bodies will be like, we know that our bodies will be like the body of Jesus on the last day. St. Paul says something similar in the letter to the Philippians, quote, "Jesus will change our lowly body to conform with his glorified body by the power that enables him also to bring all things into subjection to himself." End quote. These passages and others tell us that if we want to have some idea about what our bodies will be like on the last day, we have to look at what Jesus' body was like after the resurrection. For all agree that we will be like him on the last day. As a result, all acceptable reflections on what our resurrected bodies will be like are based on descriptions and meditations on what the body of Jesus was like when he rose from the dead. While there is not a lot of information about this, Scripture does record some information that has been useful for theologians to reflect upon through the ages. So when it comes to what age we will be at the resurrection, many theologians will say 30 or 33 years old. But why? Because that is the age that Jesus was at the time of his resurrection. St. Augustine says as much in the last book of his City of God, when commenting on St. Paul's letter to the Ephesians. He writes, quote, "As for what the apostle said in the measure of the age of the fullness of Christ, we must either understand him to refer to something else, namely to the fact that the measure of Christ will be completed when all the members among the Christian communities are added to the head, or if we are to refer it to the resurrection of the body, the meaning is that all shall rise neither beyond nor under youth, but in that vigor and age to which we know that Christ had arrived. For even the world's wisest men have fixed the bloom of youth at about the age of 30. And when this period has been passed, the man begins to decline toward the defective and duller period of old age." End quote. The point St. Augustine is making here is not that we will be 30 forever, just because Jesus rose from the dead at the age of 30 or 33. Rather, in antiquity, it was thought that one reached perfect physical maturity in one's early 30s, and so many fathers of the Church thought that it was significant that Jesus rose from the dead at that age, and so confirmed the general opinion about the age of full bodily maturity. So the point is not that we will have a body of a particular age, but that we will have a body that is at the height of its physical perfection, whatever age that may be. St. Thomas follows St. Augustine on this point. He writes, quote, "Man will rise again without any defect of human nature, because as God founded human nature without a defect, even so will he restore it without defect." End quote. And a little later he says, quote, "We speak of age not as regards the number of years, but as regards the state which the human body acquires from years." End quote. So St. Thomas is clear that while we can give a provisional age to the resurrected body, the key point for our reflection is that the resurrected body will appear in full adulthood, not being too young or too old. But we may wonder, What about children or those who died very young? According to St. Augustine, while they may never have reached adulthood in this life, nevertheless those children who go to God before us will rise from the dead as adults. They may not have lived adult lives on earth, but in the resurrection we will be able to see them as grown men and women. This should be a comfort to all those who have lost loved ones at a young age. For while they may have missed out on adulthood in this life, they will not miss out on the incredible adult life that we will have in the kingdom of heaven. Well, that's all I have for you today. Thanks for joining me for this episode of Big Questions, Little Answers. I look forward to seeing you next time. Until then, may God bless you and keep you in His grace. I hope that answers all your questions, but if not, please let us know by submitting your big questions using #AskAFriar in the YouTube comments and on social media. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with your friends, because it matters what you think.